Hi, this is Steve Siebold, and we're here today at the Bone Allen Mansion with one of WFG's top leaders in Canada and throughout the whole company. Paxton Fritsch is with us today from Ottawa, Canada. Paxton, thanks for coming to the mansion.
Hey, thanks for having me.
We appreciate it. Yeah, good to see you. Well, I've got some questions for you. I guess the first one would be, how did you get started with WFG? What's your background?
So I grew up in Ottawa. I went to school there. Ended up getting a degree I couldn't get a job with, and then ended up
shocker, right?
Yeah. So I just one day I just found myself thinking, hey, it might be fun to be a police officer. So I applied to a whole bunch of different big cities across Canada, and I got hired out in Edmonton first. So I started with the Edmonton Police Service in about 1998, and I was a police officer out there for about 8 years. After about 4 years, though, I remember this one night I'm driving down like the main drag, kind of like the bar district downtown. I'm driving down the main drag, and my partner's sitting beside me in my cruiser. Right, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and I just remember looking at him, and he's 15 years older than me and about 15 years senior to me. I'm in the police service, and I just was thinking to myself, there's no way that 15 years from now, this is what I want to be doing, right? And then this is how much money I'm going to be making still, approximately. And then the biggest thing is I knew that he got to spend time with his family basically when the Edmonton Police Service dictated that he could, based on schedule and time and overtime and shift work and vacation or lack of vacation and holidays, right? So
sure.
I just thought, hey, I think I want to control my time, be my own boss, and control my schedule, right? And then maybe make some more money if I work hard. Because whether I worked hard or he didn't, it didn't matter. It's the same paycheck at the end of the day, right? So I went down a journey of different businesses, tried a couple different things.
You were in the tanning salon business, right?
Yeah.
For a while?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I just fell into this franchise business. It was called Fabutan. It was a tanning salon. So as you can tell, I look like a Fabutan. But so I ended up over a couple of years, me and my business partner, we bought 3 of those. And we worked really hard. But then all of a sudden we found ourselves in a whole bunch of debt. We didn't really make any extra money because we're trying to pay down the debt for the business loans. And then all that free time we wanted, well, you know how it is with small businesses, we basically bought ourselves 3 more full-time jobs.
Sure.
So it didn't turn out the way that we thought. And then after that, I just, luckily ran into Cam Agnew, who's another EVC in the company. And he spoke to me about WFG. And
have you known him before?
Well, he knew my business partner in the salons.
Okay.
So he did some advertising and marketing there with them through some other business. Okay. So he met him, talked to him. He actually started with WFG. And then after that, my roommate / business partner started to talk to me about it a little bit. And then him and Cam started to just kind of talk to me about it a bit. And then eventually just the timing was right. And I just knew that this was an option. My dad was in financial services, so I knew you could make some good money. So I figured, hey, if I could make some good money, more than I'm making now, and be my own boss, seems like a good idea. So I started part-time, didn't have any background money in finance, no background in that kind of business, this kind of business at all. And I was able to start part-time, keep my job, do the things that were still, important to me, and then eventually transition into full-time.
And no one's shooting at you.
No one's shooting.
So that's a benefit.
No, it was, yeah.
Now, from what I read about your story, and I've interviewed you before, mm-hmm. You said, if I remember correctly, that the police force they gave you a leave of absence, but they weren't all that positive about your new venture.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, that's true. The leave of absence was fine. That wasn't so bad. They were like, hey, I want to do this. They said, okay, that's fine. It was kind of more the exit interview. Right. So when I was actually leaving, so it was 6 months leave of absence. After about 4 months, I ended up leaving. And in the exit interview, I guess, one of the guys, I think he was I can't remember what rank he was, but he was kind of high up there, and he maybe a deputy chief or something. And he just said, I've seen this before. I've seen guys do things like you're doing, which I don't know if he knew what I was doing or not.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We're pretty sure you're going to be back. And that just drove me like nothing else. Hey, maybe, now I've actually talked with them later on over LinkedIn and stuff. And I at the beginning, I wanted to be kind of, hey, look what I did, right? But after we got talking, he was kind of positive about it. He goes, I knew you were going to succeed. I'm like, sure you did. And,
yeah, exactly.
But then it turned
That's why
out,
you were so positive when you made the exit interview.
Yeah, but it turned out pretty good. He was like, yeah. And anyways, it was awesome. It drove me to succeed. Because at the beginning I wanted to prove some people wrong, but now I just want to prove people right. I want to prove, my family that, and people that care about me, people that believe me from the beginning. Those are the people I want to prove right instead of proving people wrong. Although there's a little piece of that sometimes.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. How long did it take you to become successful in the business?
Oh, successful.
Say $75,000 a year, maybe.
Yeah, that probably. So I was part-time for 6 months, 5-6 months. Then I went full-time. My first year full-time, I was kind of full-time.
That's right. You took a big summer break, if I remember correctly, right?
You sort of triathlon camp. The Oilers were in the playoffs, and I was in Edmonton. I had season tickets.
You hockey players,
and
got to
they
have
went all
that.
the way to the Stanley Cup Finals, Game 7. So I was at every game.
Canadian never misses a hockey game.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And my brother Brad, he's also a PGA Tour golfer, so he made it to the U.S. Open. That was his first PGA tournament, I think, was the U.S. Open. Wow. Maybe his second one. And I went down to New York from Edmonton to watch him. So yeah, it was a crazy summer. Yeah, I guess when I started in September of 2006, I ended up treating my business like a business. I ended up coming in on weekends. And I don't mean the whole weekend. We'd have some training on Saturdays. And I started coming to that regularly. So when I started showing up to that, I started to treat my business like a business, the mindset, I guess. And that's when things started to take off. It took some time. And then after a year of being full-time in the business, I think I was at $50,000 of income, like over a year period. And then probably...
That's pretty good for a first-year business.
Yeah. It was part-time a little bit. And
but no debt, right?
No debt.
You're in the black.
Yeah,
it's pretty amazing for a first-year business.
Yeah, I was already in debt from when I was a police officer and stuff.
Yeah.
But I was making more money than, for sure I was making money. So probably about a year and a half full-time, I was at $75,000.
Wow.
And then it took me about 2 years full-time to get my ring, which is $100,000 in a year, right? So I guess to me, that was kind of more successful, right, at that point. So it took about 2 years to get to that point.
And now you're executive vice chairman.
Yeah, EVC.
And you've been in the business how long?
I've been in the business since 2006, so we'll call it, we're just coming up to 12 years full-time now, just in another month or two. So.
And I believe you hit you passed the 750,000 mark, right?
Yeah, I just got to 850 just recently.
Wow, congratulations, that's great.
Yeah, so pretty cool.
That's a lot of money for an ex-cop, right, especially?
Yeah, never thought, I hoped it would happen, but I didn't know how that would ever happen.
It must be a big leap in belief to go from being a police officer, making a police officer's salary, to $850,000. That's a lot of money. How was that shift for you?
Well, it took a long time, so we built up to it, right? So I didn't all of a sudden make $850. It took me a year and a bit to get to 50, and then another year to get to 100. And then at that point, I ended up moving out to Ottawa from Edmonton.
So you made the big leap from Edmonton to all the way to Ottawa across the country, right?
Yeah,
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. Right when we got to SMD, we'd already had this plan, but my wife and I, we decided, we looked out in Ottawa and there wasn't a lot going on in WFG in Ottawa, and it's about 1 million plus people. And it was the same size as Edmonton and Calgary. So I just, my wife and I, Jill, decided at that point, we're like, if we can do half of what some of our leaders have done, Real Michaud, what he's done out west, if we could do that out in Ottawa, that'd be amazing. So we moved out there in September 2008. We just got married.
Right in the crash.
Wow. Probably, one of the worst times you could.
That's tough.
Technically, I guess they call it one of the worst times, but people always want to save money. They always want to get out of the debt. They always want to get in better financial shape. There's no bad time for helping people with money and finance, because people always want help with it. No matter bad times, maybe you're better to help people with it, right?
Sure.
So so we moved out there. We had a 2-month-old at the time, our daughter Jameson.
Wow.
And so we just
you used to bring her to the office, right? If I remember.
Did. Yeah.
And with a crib in the office.
Yeah, we got an office a little bit too big for us at the beginning, or we bit off a little bit more than we could chew. And so my wife was my assistant, the office manager, and Jameson was at the office until she got really mobile, until she started crawling really fast. I think the time when Jill decided it was time for her not to be there full time was when she put her down, on the ground, sitting there by the photocopier, and she did a bunch of photocopies, and she turned around, and James wasn't there anymore.
Gone.
It's like, where'd she go? So I had to go find her. But,
right.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, actually, and that's so that took that we stayed at about $100,000 for about a year because we basically started over. We moved to Ottawa, opened our own office. We were in SMD. We just got our ring. We started brand new. It was all up to us. There was one or two other guys with us that came out with us, which was cool. Jean Beliveau and someone else. But anyways, it took a while. So you mentioned income before. It took 5 years from that point to get to EMD, which is promoting 3 SMDs, and 250 of income.
Okay.
So it took us 5 years to get there. Then it took us another 2 years to promote 3 more SMDs and get to 500,000 of income.
Right.
And then it took about another year to promote 3 more SMDs, which is what you need to get to EVC. And then I just needed some points to hit. And then at that point, I think 2 years. So it took 5 years to get to 250, 2 years to get to 500, and then another 2 years to get to 750.
Wow.
So so at the beginning, it was super far away, but as it gets bigger, it actually goes faster. And we have something we like to say, which is completely true. Your first 50,000 that you ever make in WFG is the hardest 50,000 to make. So just hang on, because it's when you have the smallest contract. It's when you have you're the newest, so you have the littlest amount of knowledge.
Right.
You have the smallest customer base. You have the smallest team, right? You don't know as much. It's everything is new. Right. So the first 50 is the toughest. Then the next 50 is a little bit easier, and then it starts to get easier and easier. And it's not easier; it's just simpler. You just got to keep doing the same thing, but you get better at it as you go.
Right. So what would you say is the secret to your success, Paxton?
The secret.
If there's a secret, right?
Yeah, there's no secret, that's for sure. But the first principle I would say would be hard work, right? First of all, not giving up and just working hard and knowing that it's gonna come, right? If you continue to work hard. But along with hard work, that work needs to be the right work. And what I mean, first of all, the right work is doing what's right, right? It should be a common business principle for everything. It's just doing what's right for people, doing good by people, right? If you actually help people and do what's right every single time, you're going to have a business that lasts. So if you work hard and do what's right, I mean, you're going to beat almost everyone. Not that it's about beating people, but at the end of the day, to be successful, right, you need to get results. And I think working hard and doing what's right are the things that have kept me consistent, really consistent. And by business standards, I don't know what a normal business grows by nowadays, but last year we grew, so it was a slow year for us, and we grew, I think, 29% in production. The last 2 previous years to that, we grew 48 and 49% in amount of business that my team has done, our team has done. So it's pretty cool. And then the other thing is not getting distracted. I think I call it don't chase shiny stuff. And I don't actually mean bling. I mean, don't do things that didn't get you there. Don't do someone else's looks like they're having a lot of success, so I got to do what they're doing. No, if you're doing great, keep doing what you're doing. Always look to see if there's something that can enhance your business. But don't stray from the fundamentals, because that's what this company was founded on. And, most businesses out there, the fundamentals are what get you there. And then there's also always some upgrades and some different things that you can change along the way. But yeah, sticking with the fundamentals has been huge.
One of the things that people, when they call our company and they ask us about you guys, since we're vendors to you guys and we're outsiders, they'll say, well, those guys work all the time, I have a feeling. So if someone wants to become the next Paxton Fritsch, what kind of hours would they expect to work?
Yeah.
Because I have a feeling it's a lot. They're a lot.
Yeah. That question is so hard to answer. If I actually took some time and looked at my travel schedule, I think it would be surprising to me how little I worked, and little as for an entrepreneur is between 40 and 55 hours. That's little.
Sure.
Right?
Right.
I was just telling some guys the other day, if I was single, which I don't want to be, but if I was single, and I didn't have any responsibilities, I don't know what I would do rather than work out a little bit to stay in shape, sleep enough, and then I would work all the time. Like, why wouldn't you get this thing done as fast as you want? So the point I'm trying to make is that it doesn't even seem like work. You know what I mean? Like it's not work. Like I was at the office the other night at 12:30 because I had to get some things done. And I think I was traveling in the next couple of days and I just had to catch up and I just hate being behind. So I was at the office till 12:30 and I was leaving and I was like, crazy, it's 12:30. And then I was like, so first of all, I'm telling myself, I'm going to win because I'm doing this and no one else is. Right? So it's building my self-confidence.
Sure, yeah.
And then...
you have to justify why you're there at midnight to yourself. Yeah. I've done the same thing.
Yeah. And then the second thing was like, well, what else would I be doing? Like my wife's in bed. Right. Like my kids are in bed. Like what else would I do?
Sure.
You know, besides when it's time to go to sleep, it's time to go to sleep. Right. But I would say in my really busiest years, I'm not traveling. If you get me at a full work week, like full week, I might work 60 hours a week. Right? But I never work Sunday because that's family time. And I love working. I mean, I love my family more. I'd rather be with my family all the time, obviously.
Sure.
Right? But I do this for my family. So I make sure that we make this, our family the reason we do this, not the excuse that we don't. But it's super important, obviously, to put the family time in. And then I just do WFG around it. But it's a lot of time. 60 hours a week is like a good, solid, working, full, hardcore week, right? With that's some on a Saturday, some evenings, right? But I mean, you can't work 40 hours a week and expect to make $800,000 a year. It just doesn't work like that.
Right.
I mean, and that's just the reality of it. But I don't work 60 hours a week now.
What if someone, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know, 40 or 50. I'd say 50 now, but I take so many liberties and I do whatever I want, whenever I want. Anytime. It doesn't mean I stay at home until noon and don't do anything. But I mean, if my kids have something, I go. Like if it's important. If it's the 77th hockey game this year, I don't need to be there.
Right.
Because he's going to have another 7,000 more hockey games, right?
Right.
So I just go for the really important ones. Or I was assistant coach this year for my son's team. It's novice. It's like 7-year-olds hockey, right?
Cool, yeah.
So I was assistant coach, but I didn't go weeknights because I'm with my team on weeknights, building people and training people and all that kind of stuff. But, whenever there was a game or a practice that I could go to around my WFG work schedule, which was like Saturday mornings early and Saturday nights and that kind of stuff, then I would go. So I still get lots of quality time. And I think that's a really sensitive question because people are used to working 40 hours a week. Or in the government in Canada, it's 37.5.
37.5.
37.5.
Okay.
Like they're pretty serious about their 37.5.
Okay.
So
got that 0.5 in there.
Yeah. So, it's less than 40. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe it's lunch. I don't know. So, anyways, So I've worked really hard. And I live an incredible, amazing, free life at the same time.
What if someone's watching this and they just want to make another $25,000 a year and that would be a life-changing thing for them?
Totally.
How many hours would they have to put into it? I know it's hard to get exact with being as an entrepreneur, but just as a guess, if they're looking at this saying, gee, I don't know if I have enough time.
Yeah.
$25,000 a year, what would they have to
Totally. So let's call that $2,000 a month, right?
Okay.
So on average, an associate that goes out and helps a family, so that's kind of like a lower contract level, an associate is going to make approximately, in our model, the way we do business and the different products that we sell, we help a family, an associate's going to make about $1,000. Approximate, give or take.
Per contract.
Per family. There'll be a couple things we do with that family probably.
Okay.
You're right? Insurance, investments, whatever it is, whatever products.
Okay.
Right? So about $1,000. So that's 2 families a month. Right? So right away, it's 2 families a month? Yeah. So let's just say if things worked out perfectly, the least amount you could work for that would be I would meet with the family. I would, figure out what their goals are. And then I would go build a plan at the office. So let's say the meeting took an hour. Let's say the plan that we built for them took an hour. Let's say when we go back and present it to them, and let's say they say, yes, we want to do all this. That takes, let's say on the high side, 2 hours, right? And let's add some driving time in. So 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. And let's add another hour just for good measure. 6 hours, literally, to help a family.
Okay.
Right? So times 2, that's 12 hours in a month to help 2 families. Now, there's going to be some times when we sit down with the family and they don't want to do anything. Right. Or we do all that work, but then they say, I want to think about it, or not now, or whatever. So let's just double that up. Let's go to 24 hours. right?
Okay.
So let's double that up. So let's say 24 hours. We did all of that. Only 2 people said yes, but went through the whole process for everything.
Right.
Right. I'm adding extra time in here.
Right.
So 24 hours to make $2,000.
Okay.
So that's 12 hours for $1,000. That's, that's like $80 an hour. That's pretty cool.
Right.
And that's assuming you're only decent at what you do.
So 6 hours a week roughly as an average?
Yeah, and then I would say probably we do training as well.
Right.
And I think it's so important. I said I worked hard. Part of working hard is showing up to everything. Like if you're on a team, you show up to practice. Like it's required. Here it's not required, but it's required to win.
Well, how often is practice, and how often does that
for
person
us,
have to show up?
Most offices every Tuesday or Wednesday night for about 2 or 3 hours, depending on whose team it is.
And what goes on there at that practice?
Oh, we do some training.
Training.
Yeah, so it could be training on personal development, growth, mental toughness. We do a lot of training with your stuff, right? It's awesome. A whole bunch of John Maxwell, just a whole bunch of different stuff, right?
Sure.
So we on entrepreneurial mindset, the products, the system, sales, everything that you would need, leadership, everything that you need to do to be successful.
And that's once a week?
In business. That's once a week for the semi-serious people.
Okay.
For the serious people that are going to want to do more than $2,000 a month.
Right.
We have the same thing on Saturday for 2 or 3 hours.
Okay, so if I want to make the $2,000 a month, let's say
Once a week.
I have to do 6 hours, say a month. Start 6 hours a week plus the 2 hours, so say 8 hours a week. 8 hours a week, roughly.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
It's not too bad for $2,000.
Yeah, and that's even pushing it. Like to actually just get the job done to make that money, it's less. But that's just if you want to win in business long term, you just got to develop that habit. I think of some work.
Sure. Yeah. Well, here's a question we get all the time, and I know you've heard it before. People have been asking me this for 15 years about WFG. They'll say, if it's so great, then why do 80% or 90% of the people actually that sign an AMA, an associate agreement, quit within 18 months? I mean, if it's so good, why does almost everyone quit?
Yeah, that's a great question. I wish I knew because I'd have a lot more retention.
I hear you. Yeah, right. Yeah.
I think it's a combination of a lot of things. We have this. The numbers are very predictable in our business. It's very predictable because we run lots of numbers, and then you can boil it down, and it's a great sample size, right? So, but literally, if you did your associate membership agreement, so you came, you saw the presentation, or we sat down, and then you left, and then you came back for like a follow-up interview, which is, us seeing if there's a good fit for you, a good fit for us, and then we get you started, right? Remember, you've come here, right? You've gone home, and then you've come back. Because we want to make sure you go home first and come back. Because we don't want you to start working with us off just your emotion and then leave and then not come back and then get angry that you spent $100 for the startup cost, right?
Sure.
So we want you to, that's a filter. That's from the founders. That's what they did.
Sure.
Monty and Rich and Jack and all that, right? So, they come back and they sign an associate membership agreement with us, right? Pay a little bit of money, $100, and then they end up getting their course and stuff. So literally they do that. And 2 out of 10 people, they walk out of my office, and the last time I see them is the back of their head. I never see them again. Can't contact them.
They sign up and then they disappear.
They're gone. They don't answer. I don't know why. No one knows why. It's the black hole, right? Someone said something to them. They thought themselves out of it. Oh, I don't believe I can do this. They got rejected by someone they care about, and they didn't like the way that felt, right?
Sure.
They read something on the internet from some blogger that knows nothing about what we do, and that blew them out, which is all really unfortunate reasons, I think. Right. And then sometimes just life events happen, and it's not good timing.
Right.
And
it's only $100 they've lost, so easy come, easy go, right?
For sure. And then there's the other 6 that are kind of in not la la land, that's maybe not the best word, but they're in limbo. So there's 2 that are gone. There's 6 that are in limbo. They're kind of, some come, some don't. They're kind of on the edge, on the fence, right? And then there's 2 that are hardcore in.
2 out of 10.
2 out of 10, hardcore in, and then I guess half of those people end up getting their license, right? Why? Life, distractions. You only had to put $100 into it. You know what I mean? There's nothing to lose,
right?
And people a lot of times have really good intentions. They'll say, you know what, this isn't good timing. I'll come back in 3 weeks or a month, and they totally mean that. But then life happens. Oh, my life is pretty good. I don't know. And they start thinking themselves out of it. Or again, someone says something that they don't know anything about us or the industry, and there's just some little bit of negative connotation or something, and then they end up just deciding, oh, this isn't for me. No one knows.
Sure.
I don't think anyone knows.
I could see 20 to 30%, but 90% after 18 months, I've never really, being around you guys for so long and such a positive environment, I just don't see where they go when they leave you guys, because it's such a great opportunity.
Yeah.
But why do you think, because most of those limbo people are gone too.
I think it's two things. So right away, they either don't believe they can do it. At some point, that gets the better of them. And they're finally like, I can't do this. They had some doubt, but we get them over the edge. We encourage them. We tell them you can, because they can. They can. Any person, I believe, this is my opinion, any person with the capacity to get a high school diploma, the mental capacity to get a high school diploma, can do this business. Some people, they got to learn a lot about people and patience and all that kind of stuff. And they have a long road ahead of them, but it's completely possible. Right? And some people already have a lot of the life skills and they can do it quicker, but it's all about work.
Do the people that leave Paxton, are those people that never made any money in the business? They don't get licensed, they don't make any money compared to the people that make even a couple $100 a month where they would stay in? Is there some correlation with the money they earn in the beginning?
Yeah. So once someone makes $1,000 in our business, there's a metric we call it a net recruit. Once someone makes $1,000, they stay in for an average of about 18 months.
Just not $1,000 a month, just $1,000.
That's not an average. Make $1,000. You make
total.
Your first $1,000 total. Could take a month or 6 months.
Right.
After that, if I understand it correctly, after that, for 18 months, like 89 or 91, whatever the number is, % of people stay in for 18 months.
So you got to get them making that $1,000. That must be a top priority, huh?
Totally. They need to see the business in action, because what we do is awesome.
Yeah, it is.
But they don't know it until they see it. They think you're just trying to get a license or just trying to sell life insurance. But once we get out there and help a family get out of debt and have a plan and actually ask them their goals, not tell them what they need to do, right? And then show them all these solutions, and then they get to choose. And it wasn't there's no pressure, and they get to choose, like it's choice. And we're just educating them. And once they see all that, they go, wow, this is really awesome. Yeah, it is. Right? And then they're in, right? But if they don't see that, we call that a fast start. If someone gets out and sees a couple people and we have a little bit of success quickly, they're probably in for the long haul.
Do you have any metrics in terms of if they stay in for 18 months after the first 1,000, is there another metric that says if they make 2,000 or 5,000 total, they stay in for 5 years, or anything like that you have?
Not that I'm aware of.
Anything that is a perception of yours, if you have in your head, if I can get these people making X amount of dollars, they're going to stay. Anything like that?
Yeah. If someone is making, this is how bad society is financially right now. If someone's making money consistently, they'll stay.
No matter how
for sure they're making money.
Yeah,
because it's a positive environment. They love going there.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a warm bath going to a WFG meeting.
Totally. Yeah. They're learning things. There's a social network there that they make new friends. Right. They don't want to quit on their friends, and they're making money. Why would you go? It's fun. Plus, we do lots of great things together too, right?
Right.
So I think at that point, it's more what holds people after that is relationships. I think it's getting to know your people and getting to know their families, and the opposite of what you hear in a lot of corporate America of not getting to know people and keep your distance, and nothing could be farther from the truth.
Sure. When they say we work with, as you know, big companies every day, and one of the things they like to say is bring your head to work, leave your heart at home.
Yeah.
Tough for an emotional creature, right?
Totally. Especially in your own business. Like you can't be an entrepreneur and just use your head. You got to be all in with your heart, everything.
Yeah, if you don't love it, it's tough.
Yeah.